So today is Tuesday after the high-end Vienna show. I flew back into town last night, and I'll be here for about 6 hours today organizing some production, and this afternoon I'll be packing my bike and heading into the mountains for a 100-mile gravel race in the Sierra Butte Mountains. But before I headed out, I wanted to cover a quick topic on the Cascade versus Palisade performance. I've seen a lot of messages, and a lot of our dealers have received messages asking about the difference between the Cascade and the Palisade DAC. So we'll cover that with a quick explanation. The other thing I wanted to do was give a quick recap of the Vienna show and give some feedback we can hope to see implemented next year to make the overall experience better for manufacturers and visitors alike. So let's talk about the Palisade versus Cascade DAC. A lot of people have been focusing on that the Palisade is better than the current Cascade. That is only half of what we're talking about here, and I want to re-emphasize that the Cascade is a better performing DAC than the Palisade DAC after updates. The performance of all of our MSB DACs is based on the combination of hardware and firmware. While developing the Palisade DAC, we developed new firmware that brought the performance combined with the hardware to a new level. Now, revisiting the Cascade DAC, we have implemented new firmware that brings its hardware further along. At the end of the day, there's limitations to what the firmware can do versus the hardware. And the Cascade is a better performing DAC and better configuration than the Palisade DAC. With twice the DAC modules and a better power supply for the clock, the Cascade DAC outperforms the Palisade DAC, no exceptions. We will be releasing the firmware update in the next 2 to 3 weeks that will bring that performance to every Cascade owner out there. This will be a free music file software update to enable the new features available. When I sit down and I listen to the Palisade DAC, then the Cascade DAC, and then finally the Sentinel DAC, there are clear improvements to the soundstage, definition, and the overall musical experience from each model. For those Cascade DAC owners that are worried that the new Palisade will outperform their Cascade DAC, I want to reassure you that this is not the case. The Palisade DAC hardware is a derivative of the Cascade DAC and will not perform on the same level. This new experience is brought to life with better bass definition, vocal presence, and actually a reduction in the overall distortion of the Cascade DAC. Now, I know there's not a lot of distortion to start with, but this overall reduction in the distortion allows you to listen at higher and more immersive volume levels without any fatigue at all. This is part of the Sentinel experience we became very accustomed to, which is why it was so important for us to find a way to implement it into the Cascade DAC. Now, I'd like to give a quick review of our Vienna experience and share a little behind the scenes of what it was like for us to fly there and exhibit MSB in this new convention center. First off, change comes with a lot of headaches. And for us, who have been exhibiting at Munich for so many years, this was a new growing experience where we had to get to new venues, new hotels, and figure out new modes of transportation. We were definitely pushed out of our comfort zone as we had to adapt to this new space. Right off the bat, it became very apparent we did not have enough listening rooms at this new venue. For an audio show, this was kind of a red flag right out of the gate. I think a start like this set a lot of manufacturers on edge, and we were all very worried about what the show would be like, how the attendance would be, and if it was worth our time to show up and demonstrate our products. Since we did not receive a listening room, we were able to secure a booth, and we were able to have a static display and discuss with people day to day. I think this was actually a great way for us to have done the Vienna show. We loved being able to talk with people one-on-one in the booth in a no-pressure environment where we could spend time with people and not worry about managing a demo at the same time. Especially when it comes to the caliber of the Sentinel DAC. These are not products that are easy to set up and demonstrate in a very short window with a lot of variables that we can't control. For example, in the X5 hall, this venue was built on a suspended floor. It was plywood panels over rafters. So a lot of the showrooms were set up with bouncy floors. So when trying to manage bass in a sound booth like this, it was a complete nightmare. In the a cappella room, if you stood next to the loudspeaker, that speaker would actually rock back and forth because the floor was so unstable. But now we're a lot more familiar with the venue and the different offerings it has from hall to hall. Hopefully next year we can see more of these audio rooms move to the halls that have the concrete floors, and perhaps the headphone divisions moved into the rooms with the flexible floors. Overall, the biggest issues we had with the venue was a lack of communication from an audiophile perspective. It was very business first, and there was no conversation about the experience that we were going to have and what we needed for our companies to succeed in this new venue. By next year, I hope we can see some more transparency from the show organizers on what it takes to get a room, how advertising affects our ability to get a room, and that they can provide more information on the venue for exhibitors. I would also love to see some more organization when it comes to brand placement. There was a pretty significant mix of brand types in the venue. One of our old neighbors in the Munich show, who does 2-channel audio, was placed right smack dab in the headphone department area. This didn't make any sense for their market and for the customers visiting their booth. So hopefully, new and better communication in the future will create a better experience for visitors and exhibitors alike. This feedback is mostly just about the headaches of moving to a new venue. But there were a lot of positives that I'm really excited about personally and really enjoyed this new venue for. First up is the area around the venue is highly walkable with access to many restaurants and hotels in a very close proximity. This created a great experience as an exhibitor and also for visitors. You were able to go from your hotel room to the show venue and back very quickly. Instead of spending an hour in an Uber trying to get to downtown, we were able to take clients directly to local restaurants and have a great evening of no stress and no traffic. Now the show was split between the convention center, the halls, and I think 3 or 4 other hotels. So this created a very interesting environment to navigate and was maybe more engaging for visitors and also maybe a little puzzling as they navigated from one show venue to another. But this mix-up was a really fun way to engage with the brands that we've been visiting for years. Instead of being just straight down a row of the same sized rooms, there was a lot of dynamic setups and presentations that we haven't seen before. And personally, I absolutely loved having access to the river and island area right next to the convention center. After the show each day, I was able to go out into the park for a nice long run and decompress after a stressful day. When all is said and done, I think the Vienna show was a fantastic success. I'm sure we'll see an increase in attendance in the future years as people figure out the new venue and location, and hopefully the show organizers will reach out to manufacturers and communicate more clearly on room expectations and what it takes to be well represented at the Vienna show. As we get back into the office, we'll be continuing our work on the Palisade DAC production. We'll be excited to share some updates in that production as we move forward, so please like and subscribe if you'd like to see those updates as they come out. And with that, it's time for me to head out and get into the mountains as we kick into gear for this new production and an exciting new year for MSB Technology. Thanks for your time, and we'll catch you in the next video.